Hi there, I'm Uma Sodinathan and I'm a pediatrician and a neonatologist in Pantai Hospital, Bangsa. And now we talk about your baby's stool. The commonest questions that parents ask are around the color of the stool and how frequently your baby would be passing stools. Breastfed babies in the first few weeks of life could be passing stools every time you feed the baby. This is quite normal. As long as your baby is gaining adequate weight and all else looks fine, there's really not much to worry about it. A formula-fed baby may pass stools a little less frequently than that, but they tend to open their bowel almost every day in the first few weeks. After the first few weeks of life, a breastfed baby's frequency of stool becomes a little less frequent. And sometimes your baby could go on for days without passing stool. As long as your baby is looking well, is continuing to feed well, is not vomiting with a distended tummy, and does not seem to be in distress, you're fine to wait. If your baby has not pooped for 5 days or so, but remains well, give your pediatrician a call and arrange to be seen in the next few days. But if you're worried about any of the other symptoms that I've said previously, get in touch sooner. The color of your baby's stool can range from being yellow to golden yellow to green and to be brown. What you really shouldn't see is pale stools. If you're seeing very pale, gray, whitish stool, you must let your pediatrician know too. When you first start with your baby coming home, the stools could look really dark green. It could look sometimes as if it's looking black and sticky, but this is a normal meconium stool. Don't worry about it. It will soon become a transitional stool which moves from being brownish to yellowish to golden yellow if you're breastfeeding. Finding little particles in the stool is also normal. These are just milk curds. Oh my, are we going to be talking about colic? That is one of the most distressing things for the child, even more distressing for the parent, and a total helpless situation that we sometimes feel when we see you in clinic. So what is colic? Colic is a situation when your child is crying inconsolably for 15 to 20 minutes, does not settle no matter what you do, is arching back and drawing the feet up to the tummy and just screaming. And then your baby tires out, goes off to sleep, and wakes up again and has about 2 or 3 of such episodes, and has at least 3 of these in a week. Now that could be colic that you're dealing with. And for those of you who are already experiencing such a situation at home, that must be quite distressing. What can you do? I wish we had a magic wand to tell you the exact treatment for colic, but we don't. But some things work. See if your baby is feeding too fast. And why will your baby feed too fast? If you're breastfeeding your baby, is your flow too fast? Is it making your baby swallow a lot of air while your baby is trying to catch up with the speed of the flow of your milk? If you're bottle feeding your baby, is the flow too fast on the teat? Is your baby naturally a windy baby? So belch your baby. Belch your baby halfway through feeds and belch your baby again at the end of the feeds. You've tried for 10 minutes, nothing's coming out, put your baby down. And if you start seeing that your baby's starting to fuss a little bit, belch the baby again. Sometimes when these things don't help, we may suggest using some anti-colic drops and the use of probiotics. So at most times, colic, that's not a problem. It will get better with time. Few things you need to know are that colic does not start before 2 weeks of age. So if your baby is doing any of such under 2 weeks of age, make sure you talk about it to your pediatrician. Colic peaks before it gets better, and it normally starts after 2 weeks, peaks around 6 to 8 weeks, and most often resolves by 3 months of age. A baby who seemingly has symptoms of colic but later vomits green or has a poop that looks like red currant jelly is telling you that there's something more than just a wind trap. make sure that you see the doctor soon. One of the other areas that parents have lots of concerns about is vaccination. The controversy begins with actually knowing whether or not to vaccinate your baby. It is important to vaccinate your baby. And there are loads of vaccinations out there, and you need to be able to speak to your pediatrician to understand better which are the relevant and important vaccinations that should be started early. There is a government vaccination schedule that strongly recommends a group of vaccines to be given to your baby. Don't miss them. If there are any concerns, especially due to ill effects from vaccination in other children or within the family, or you've had information telling you not to vaccinate your child, check with your pediatrician. Your pediatrician will help you understand the importance of the vaccine and what are the things that can be planned around to help you get the vaccination for your child at the appropriate time. You may be wondering what the normal temperature of your baby should be. If you don't already know, it's between 36.5 to 37.5 degrees centigrade. Sometimes when you overclothe your baby might feel a little bit hot and your baby might feel a little bit sweaty. It's important to have a good thermometer at home. Check the baby's temperature. If your baby's temperature is more than 37.5, undress your baby a little and check it again in the next 10 to 20 minutes. If it's back to less than 37.5, that gives you the answer. It could just be that you overclothed your baby. But if checking your temperature after 15 to 20 minutes reveals that your baby's temperature is still more than 37.5 degrees, it is best to see a pediatrician soon.